Yo, North Provolone here, and pretty much welcome to another video. So yeah, what are we doing today? Well, today we're going to be doing a video on pretty much the horror genre and its current state. And pretty much, I'm a pretty big fan of horror in general. Love some H.P. Lovecraft and some Stephen King in literature. I love the shit out of horror movies, and pretty much in general, horror games are pretty damn chill. I like playing them. Been playing them for a pretty damn long time. And let's just go into the shit that the horror genre has evolved into. And mostly I'm going to be focusing on the gaming side of things, but I might be going into the movie side of things because pretty much movies are suffering the same kind of, I don't know how to describe it, monotony and stereotypes that it's just shit. So let's get into this right now. So to see how the horror genre has fallen from grace, let's go back to let's see, the fucking 2000s maybe. Yeah, let's just go back to like the PS2 era, cause hey, I'm a PS2 fanboy because the PS2 kicked some ass, and I believe that the PS2 era was the heyday. And actually, no, to be honest, probably like the PS1 and PS2 era was probably the heyday of the horror genre in gaming. We had shit like Silent Hill, Resident Evil, Eternal Darkness, and in general, gaming was just great. The PS2 horror library was amazing. It wasn't very vast, and I guess you could say a lot of games were kind of similar, like Silent Hill and Resident Evil, though they are extremely different experiences. Resident Evil is more about just like monster designs and spooky mansions and shit like that, while Silent Hill is more about symbolism and pretty much character studies, and just in general it's more like, I guess the way to compare it is comparing a horror movie like Evil Dead to The Shining. Resident Evil, like Evil Dead, it's good for, like, it's like a fun fest. Like, it's kind of fun, it's a little bit spooky, but in general, it's a little bit lighthearted and fun, when Silent Hill and The Shining are both more complex and more, I guess, art films, you could put it like that. But yeah, sorry I went a little bit off topic, but in general, you had a good variety. And nowadays, it seems like every horror game is kind of the same thing. You're just running away from the spooky shit. It could be Outlast, Amnesia, whatever the hell you want to call it. In general, like, first off, I don't understand why, but they took away item management. That was kind of a core aspect of horror games, and it kind of made, like, quick decisions a little bit have more of an impact. Now in, like, Outlast, you're just kind of running away from shit. There's, like, no decision making. You're just running from point A to point B and making sure you don't get caught by some spooky little insane asylum patient or some shit like that. Compare that to Silent Hill, where in Silent Hill, pretty much, yeah, in general, you're kind of just going from point A to point B while trying to avoid scary shit. But in Silent Hill, A, you have to manage your items and you need to make quick decision making. A great example is meeting a new enemy in Silent Hill. In Silent Hill, you don't really know the threat level of the enemy because you just met it. And you don't know, should I use my gun now on this enemy, or should I conceal my ammo until I come across a threat like a boss or something like that. In games like Outlast, there's none of this decision making. It's pretty much just, there's a monster and I need to run away from it, or I'll just hide from it in a locker. And yeah, I guess that could be quote-unquote more scary for the dumb masses, but in general, there should be a lot more decision making to it, and you should have to plan out, and you should be aware of your consequences, and there should be consequences, because in games like Outlast, there are no consequences. If you die, you just restart, and yeah, in Silent Hill, you just restart, but if you use an item, that item is gone for the rest of the game. Except for like a bat or something like that, but that's beyond the point. Yeah, but in Silent Hill, if you use a bullet on an enemy or a medkit, that bullet or that medkit, it's gone. You have to find another one. In a game like Outlast or Amnesia, all of that is just gone, scrapped, and it's replaced by repetitive running and repetitive fetch quests. And of course there's going to be exceptions, like Resident Evil 7, that just came out, and that brought back the great system of old school survival horror back, and I love the shit out of that game. And in general, I think some games have kind of evolved. Like, I know horror games like the RPG Maker games, they're very different, but still, they're not really meant for gameplay, they're more meant for story. And I love a lot of RPG Maker games for their story because they're really well told. And in general, they're just really well done. But for games like Outlast, they're not telling no goddamn story. They're meant to scare the shit out of me, and they're goddamn not. They're just not scary, and that's another problem. Horror games in general aren't fucking scary. They're just not. Now, this kind of ties into both the horror genre of film and the horror genre of video games, but what the fuck happened? They're not scary anymore. Horror games are just not scary anymore. Like Silent Hill, have you seen some of those monster designs? They're scary as shit. Like, they're fucking three-headed baby gorilla shit. And now you have Outlast, stereotypical spooky little monster, kind of looks like a fucking insane guy, but he has glowing red eyes. And Amnesia, I guess the creature designs are better, but they're still kind of generic. Resident Evil 7, yes, it's a great game and I really enjoy it, but still, the designs are very generic. Like, you have the Baker family that might as well be the fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre family if you got rid of Leatherface and replaced him with some idiotic teen character. And the moss zombies, I guess you would call them, are the most generic looking zombie characters I've ever seen in a goddamn horror game. And don't get me started on anything else, like the Steam Greenlight games with the fucking zombies and shit. There's just no creativity anymore. Like, what happened? Even the golden age of horror had more creativity. Like, listen to some of this shit. You have a sea creature who fucking attacks scientists on an island. You have some guy that can turn into a bat, can mind control people, and can suck people's blood. You have a motherfucker who's taking apart dead corpses and pretty much stitching back a human. Like, this shit's creative. What happens to creativity? I know the horror genre has been around for nearly a century, but that doesn't make any excuses. Games like Silent Hill and Resident Evil only came out about, I'd say, a decade and a half ago, and they had creative as shit designs, and their scenarios were pretty damn creative. And in general, there's no creativity anymore. And you're probably pondering right now, Papa Provolone, what the hell does this have to do with creepiness? And it's simple. New things are creepy. Don't fucking lie. The first time you saw Jeff the Killer, you were like, oh shit, this shit is fucking terrifying. And do you want to know why? Because it's new, it's unique. You don't really see some pale ass, I don't even know how to describe the Jeff the Killer face. Like this white doughboy smiling piece of shit, something like that. I just can't describe it. And that works. That's what horror should. Good horror design is indescribable. It should be incomprehensible. H.P. Lovecraft's got that fucking about 100 years ago. And guess what? He came up with some of the most creative shit ever. Cthulhu and the Lovecraftian gods. Do you know how creative those things are? You have a fucking giant octopus, half man god that lives in an ancient underground civilization called Relais. And guess what? Cthulhu's scary as shit. Think about it. A godly being that doesn't care for you, it pretty much thinks you're an ant on its level, and it can pretty much wipe out any civilization with a single motion. That's pretty damn scary. And guess what we have now? In horror movies, we have the same old fucking story about some motherfucker's house getting haunted. Like, yeah, Poltergeist was an amazing film. Steven Spielberg did an amazing job with that film, and I know he technically isn't the director, but let's be honest, he did most of that shit for that movie. But Poltergeist is still an amazing film, and it holds up immensely well. But now we have Insidious, we have The Conjuring, and it's the same fucking movie. Let's see. We have a spooky house, we have paranormal shit happening, and of course you have to have a doll that comes to life and does some spooky shit. Yeah, the clown Poltergeist in the 80s was fucking frightening for 7-year-olds, that's why I watched that film. But now, it's just idiotic. I'm not scared about no shitty ass doll. And you wanna know the reason why? It's because it's been done to death. I can name about 20 fucking haunted dolls off the top of my head that have been featured in movies. And this is bad. What the hell happened? Think about it back to the 80s and 90s. Think about The Shining, The Thing, It. Oh yeah, no, discard it, but the book is amazing, but discard the shitty-ass movie, except for Tim Curry. Tim Curry was amazing in that film. But in general, we had some stellar movies, and you had a great combination of art films like The Shining, and then you have the slashers like Halloween, Friday the 13th, Candyman, and now it seems you just have shit. Like, yeah, you have the hidden gem like The Babadook, and just good ass movies, but mostly you just have the same generic story of holy shit, my house is haunted, or holy shit, some guy's about to kill me. And really, what the fuck's the point anymore? I've seen the same movie about 16 fucking times, and it's boring. I am bored, and I guarantee other people are bored, except for the masses that support this film. I don't understand how, but the masses, they still enjoy this fucking same plot scenario over and over and over again. Like, I'm not trying to disrespect you for enjoying movies like Annabelle, but in general, there are much better horror movies out there. Like, what happened to the people who grew up on movies like The Shining, Poltergeist, and these phenomenal-ass movies? What happened to these directors? Actually, no, they're probably not in the horror business, because the horror business is most likely a joke at this point. Actually, no, it fucking is a joke. Who am I kidding? It's definitely a fucking joke. And that's sad, because horror movies could be extremely amazing. And I feel robbed. My generation is never going to get to experience a great horror film in theaters, most likely. And I guess we could blame Hollywood for just putting out shitty movie after shitty movie. And guess what? The next generation of horror directors are going to be pumping out shitty movies, because these are the films that they're growing up on. Unlike me, most people don't fucking care about the classic horror movies of the last generation. And the movies that they do see are the fucking shitfest Friday the 13th and the shitty Nightmare on Elm Street sequels. And instead, they're not experiencing The Shining. They're not experiencing Silent Hill. And this is applying to even other genres. Like, we have fucking Netflix and we have piracy. More people should be watching these fucking classic ass movies. Like, I guarantee if you ask the random high schooler what the fuck's Fight Club, they're not going to know a damn thing about Fight Club, even though Fight Club could be one of the most ingenious books and one of the most ingenious movies of the past fucking 30 years. And this is fucking sad. The next generation of filmmakers is going to be a lot goddamn smaller, because this shit is being pumped out and pumped out, and it's just awful. The horror genre is fucking dead, and this generation just put the final stake into the fucking heart that's been beaten to death after year of shitty films. And guess what? It's not going to end up well. We're going to get to the fucking day that the same movie... Actually, no, we're already here. The same movie's been made about fucking 30 times, and every movie's being remade now, and I guarantee you're going to come to the day when fucking The Shining gets remade, A Clockwork Orange gets remade, Fight Club gets remade, and just all these classic movies eventually... No, Jonathan, we're going to get to the point where Citizen Kane gets fucking remade, and The Wizard of Oz gets remade. And this is not fucking great. This is not good at all, and all of you should be fucking ashamed of yourselves. And guess what? I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, reply, and have it down in the comments. Leave a good horror movie, because we need more recommendations. The internet's a big place, and the horror community kicks ass. I love the horror community on the internet, and we need to band up together and just fucking beat the shit out of Hollywood and start releasing independent movie after independent movie. And actually, no, a lot of this video doesn't apply to independent films. I love independent films. They're the shit. So go check out that instead of the Hollywood schluckfest that usually comes out every summer about some spooky ass house in the middle of the woods, and there's fucking ghosts and shit, and some family moves in, and it's, oh shit, there's a demon in our house, what the fuck do we do? Yeah, so I'm North Provolone, stay the fuck enlightened, and I will see you later. And make sure, go watch some classic horror movies. Some recommendations would be The Shining, of course, the Evil Dead trilogy, From Dusk Till Dawn, the original Halloween, and in general, just look around and look for some obscure shit, because sometimes the most obscure shit could be the best shit. I'm North Provolone, and I'll see you in hell, my friends.